Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sonic the Hedgehog mainline tier list. I'm mainly making this because I'm going to play Frontiers for the channel. So before I do that, I want to make sure that the people know what my taste in Sonic games are. And I will be using this ranking system, but I will explain what it is after I make the ranking. So let's begin. Sonic the Hedgehog 1. It started the whole series. It has some instances of what I call first game syndrome, which is they haven't really figured out the formula yet, but they made something really solid. So I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. 8.9 to 8. I mean, 8.9 to 8? I think this means to say 9? Oh, okay. So, 10 to 9, 8.9 to 8. Okay. Yeah, I'll say that. Sonic, actually, I'll give it a 7.9 because I'll give it a 7. Given that one of my issues with this game really is stages such as the Labyrinth Zone or Scrap Brain's Labyrinth Zone Act 4, which how anyone thought that was a good idea. I mean, I get it. I have nothing against Labyrinth Zone, but it does drag down the experience enough for me to call it out. Then we have Sonic 2. I mean, it's a great game. It's definitely an improvement over Sonic 1. But honestly, after we get to Flying Battery Zone, I enjoy it less, but not to the point where I don't like the game. So I'll put it above Sonic 1. Sonic 3 and K, it's a very one of these two. The thing is, what you guys need to know is that I'm actually a bigger fan of 3D Sonic than 2D Sonic. So I'm actually going to put Knuckles there. And then CD. Okay, I like CD more than 3 and K. I don't know if that makes me weird or not, but of the classic games, this is how I'll rank them. You know what? Just for the sake of argument, let's just do Mania right away, even though Mania should be after Forces. I'll also put Mania in 9. I have nothing against the classic series, it's just I prefer the 3D games a lot more. Actually, now that I think of it, I'll put Sonic 1 below it. Yeah, 7. So we have Adventure 1, which is still to this day the best controlling 3D Sonic game. And that kind of pains me to say it. Why is it that a game from 1998 is still the best controlled game? This series is 31 years old. It came out in 91. I don't know. It's like 24 years later and they still haven't been able to make the good control. Adventure 2 is gonna go... It's gonna go here. And actually, I think I'm gonna put Mania below in the A tier. And the reason I'll put Mania here has to do with the fact that it has a lot of reused stages. So I'm gonna be building this list as I go along, because I've never actually built this tier list in my mind, but I have a general idea of where I like to place the games. And the farther you are to the left, the closer you are, the better I think you are in your respective number. Sonic Heroes, I rank it up there with Sonic 1. I don't hate Heroes, I actually like Heroes. In fact, I'm currently playing Heroes just to replay it. But overall, I don't think it's bad. And this is going to be 2 really hot takes here. That's honestly where I rank them. Okay? I genuinely do go back to 06 for the level design, and Shadow the Hedgehog is a game that... Okay, I'll give it this. The story is absolute, like, dog water. It's terrible. But that gameplay. Okay, that gameplay is really fun, and that level design is so fun. And the sense of speed I get in Shadow. And similar to Adventure 1, you can actually use the spin dash to do quite a few level skips. Not level skips, to do a lot of like, shortcuts. You can use the spin dash in the expert mode to make some of the super hard platforming sections really easy. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure you can't beat Central City expert mode without the spin dash jump. I haven't done that in so long. I always just use it for the sake of the shortcut, so I don't actually remember if you can. And then, I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog to this day is still the Sonic game that I 100%ed first. It means all A ranks, all keys, all missions. Hell, I even did all pathways. I'm never doing all pathways again, okay? I'm not 12 years old and don't have infinite time. But it was terrible. I mean, it was fun to do it, but it was such a waste of time. It took me over a year to do. It was really good though. I should note that I'm not going to be ranking any of the handheld games because while I do have my opinions on the handheld games, I don't hate them. Secret Rings is gonna go here. I'm sorry, Secret Rings was just okay. Secret Rings on a 100% playthrough is genuinely really fun, but Secret Rings on a fresh file just is not very fun to me. I don't really like it. And then we have Black Knight. I actually like Black Knight a lot. I think I'm gonna put this above you. Okay, now that I look at Black Knight where it is, I'm gonna put it there. And then Unleashed. My only real gripe with Unleashed is the metal collecting. Other than that, I think the game is great. And honestly, these are the 3 games that I will just go back to. And not even for a full playthrough sometimes. Sometimes I just want to play through all the stages. So with Unleashed, I'll go back and play like Eggman Land Day and Autobot the most. I don't understand how Rooftop Run won the poll. When I understand that Autobot has the issues of 12 FPS. But just the level design, to me, is so fun that I don't care. Okay, now we get to the other takes. Colors. I played Colors 1 time. Okay? I played it, I beat it, and then I vowed to never touch it again. I did not. I don't hate Colors. I think Colors is honestly on this level. No, I'm actually going to put it above Secret Rings, but not at this high tier. I can't put it that high. I can't hate Colors, realistically. I think actually, if I'm going to go with that, then I'm actually going to put Colors above Secret Rings, but not on the level of Heroes or Sonic 1. Please know that I don't actually hate a lot of these Sonic games. I actually really like most of them. And while my takes are odd in some of these instances, I can admit when I am wrong. I can admit that sometimes I just think that the games are... Some are better than others, clearly. I still think Sonic Adventure is one of the highlights of this series, especially the 3D games. And this isn't nostalgia, okay? This cannot be nostalgia, and I'll tell you why. Outside of 06, which was the first Sonic game I ever played, I was about 4 years old when I first played it. I went to my friend's house when I was in preschool. We would play it on their PS3. From there, we had so much fun in the multiplayer that I begged my parents for a copy. And then I got the Xbox 360 and a copy of 06. And then I got Secret Rings because one of my parents' friends got me a Wii for my birthday. I was very happy about that. They got me Secret Rings because they knew I like Sonic. I was still very young. I thought Secret Rings was fun, and I actually think Secret Rings is a fun game. It's just, how should I say it? It's just what's the word? It's just frustrating to play some of the missions. Not all the missions. In fact, I can say Secret Rings with, like I said, Secret Rings with a fully maxed out save file is really fun to play. But my issue is I have to grind for that maxed out save file, and other games like Sonic Adventure, I can play even in an unmaxed out save file and have a great time from beginning to end. Sonic Generations, I'll put it above Mania and 2. Again, I don't hate the classic games. I just don't think they're, how should I put it, the best things ever. And I will say about 06 is that 06 and these 3 games are the ones that fluctuate with me over and over again. Well, some days I'll have Shadow below 06, some days I'll have 06 on the high tier, some days Unleashed is my favorite, and some days Adventure, because these are the 4 games that I just replay over and over again. As for why CD is here is because, well, sometimes I take trips, okay? And I have portable versions of all the classic games. The one that I find myself playing the most is CD. And then Adventure 2, I actually don't mind Adventure 2. I think Adventure 2 is a really fun game. And I can see how many people put it as their favorite Sonic game. Hell, if you asked me a few years ago, I might have actually told you it was my favorite. But here's the thing. I never played the Battle version. I only own the Dreamcast version of Adventure 2. And I only own the Dreamcast version of Adventure 1. Well, it's the only version that I own on a console that I still play. I technically own it on Xbox One. The the DX version, but boy, I do not play my Xbox One that much. I'm usually on my GameCube or my PS3. My 360 is fine. It's actually, I would play 06 on my 360 rather than the PS3. However, because in the 360 I have all the DLC, and fun fact, the 360 version is actually easier to speedrun, and there's a lot more cool level skips you can do in the 360 that you can't do in the PS3 version, because they do have some differences, but at the same time, uh, the reason I have my PS3 plugged in is to play Neptunia, which is a completely different series. Yeah, because the original Neptunia trilogy never released outside of PS3, and I don't understand. Okay, I understand why, because of licensing disputes, but still. And then Sonic Forces. I'll replay it. I'm not gonna lie. I actually like Forces. I like Forces a lot more than Colors. I'll admit it. Like I said, I'm not gonna be doing the handheld games. I'm just doing main series. If you want to, oh shoot, Lost World. I forgot to count that. I don't like Lost World. Okay, I don't like Lost World. Don't even have to think about it. I'll rather play Secret Rings than Lost World. And then for anyone who's wondering where I rank the Sonic 4 series, so Episode 1 below Colors, Episode Metal below Colors, Episode 2 will go above. So kind of like this. Actually, I think Episode 2 is just way better than Colors, but Episode 1 and Metal are just below Colors. Again, this isn't exactly the farthest race I've ever played. Actually, I think this isn't like the best way to phrase it, because this still makes it look like too many games are like top. So what I'm gonna do is try to fill out a bit more, because this is what I would put, but in all honesty, I think a better way to show it would be like this. Give me a second. There we go. But then I'll leave CD there. Okay, so for the main series Sonic games, this is how I'm going to rank them. So for anyone who watches the Frontiers live stream, this is my taste in Sonic. That way, if anyone has any questions why I prefer certain things certain way, as opposed to other ways, you now know. And why are there only 2 games in my 4 and 3 tier? Because I actually like most of the Sonic games. The only one I just straight up don't like at all is Lost World. Secret Rings is frustrating, and honestly the control is not very good, but I can go back and play Secret Rings. And I don't hate these games. Sonic 4 and Colors are games that I've picked up, I've played them, I have a good time. But kind of like GTA 5, I don't really replay those games. I don't have any urge to replay those games. These games I can pick up every few months or so, play through them, and then put them down. Have a good time though. I will have a good time during these. Generations, Mania, and 2. Yeah. So 7 is the weird one for me. I'll tell you why. Because 7, I think, just not objectively, but on my opinion, are better games than, say, the 6, 5, 4, and 3. But I go back to them the least, because to me, they're just the middle of the road games. They don't have a lot of flaws that I can think of, but but even then, their highest points just don't do it for me. And I'll tell you why. Generations has nothing original. There's nothing original about Generations. Mania has reused zones. Don't get me wrong, Titanic Monarch and Press Garden and Studiopolis are, I want to call it, instances of masterful level design. But at the end of the day, I don't really think Mania or 2 are like the greatest things ever. Again, I didn't grow up in the classic era. Maybe if I grew up in the classic era, I would be a much bigger fan of these games. I grew up in the modern era. I grew up not in the modern, in the adventure style era. So, 06. Because realistically, we want to analyze, because this isn't just a nostalgia trip, okay? If you want to analyze which games I played during my childhood, like the 4 big ones were 06, Unleashed, Secret Rings, and Generations. And then it wasn't until I was older that I went back to play the other ones. And that's why I will rank them like this. Now that you know this, now that you know what my tastes in Sonic are, I hope to see you guys in Frontiers. It won't be in early November. I'm probably going to be a little bit behind because I got school to do. But for now, you now know what I'm doing. Have a nice day.